What's happening, guys? RealTDragon here for the Scarflix OutRun week. We'll be releasing another video at 9 a.m. tomorrow, so be sure to hit that bell button and subscribe.
OutRun week, baby!
What's up, everybody? I'm Ben Scarborough, and I'd like to personally welcome all of you to OutRun Week here on the Scarflix YouTube channel. This is something I've wanted to do for months as I've grown extremely obsessed with OutRun, and it's only been getting worse every day. Actually, I kept trying to review OutRun over and over again, but I kept failing to find the words to describe this perfect video game. After I tore up the script of my latest attempt to review the game, I just decided, screw it, we're doing a week of OutRun. There's just so much going on here in the OutRun community. Everything from the music, the artwork, the experiences, speedrunning, the legacy, and even the work fans have put in to keep OutRun alive and well in 2018 have all inspired me to work on this project full time. If you've never played OutRun before, I invite you to come along with me on this journey as we explore every aspect of the game. And if you have played OutRun before, well, today we're going to look at top 5 things you might not know about OutRun.
Developer Easter egg. Released in 1986, OutRun was developed by the legendary studio SEGA AM2, founded and designed by the GOD Yu Suzuki. It's widely believed that, at this time, SEGA did not give their developers proper credit based on a company policy. This could have been to protect their most valuable employees, and it was common to use nicknames at the office. The default initials on the best Outrunner screen most likely represents the OutRun team. An Easter egg can be triggered just before any checkpoint in-game by holding the start button just as the sky colors cycle for the upcoming stage. Interestingly, for the international version, the code for this Easter egg was rewritten. To activate it, you have to first get a high score and then enter your name as YU period. On the next playthrough, you can only access this egg by pressing start when changing from stage 2 to 3. Suzuki most likely had to adhere to SEGA of America's policies, which meant making the Easter egg harder to access.
The extra code that handles this version of the egg is hidden in a routine that handles changing the sky color palette during stages. You see this kind of thing when programmers try to hide code from more popular routines shared with the development team. Also, the same Yu Suzuki Easter egg is in Afterburner and Space Harrier, but you have to do completely different things to trigger them.
The music of OutRun. The soundtrack to the original OutRun is adored by millions of people around the world. Written by Hiroshi Kawaguchi before digital audio workstations even existed, the music of OutRun was composed on a Yamaha PSR-70 keyboard. The notes were manually entered into a computer and converted for data assembly. This data was sent to an emulator and boom, the team was able to hear the music as it would appear in-game. OutRun is also notable as the first video game that allowed gamers to choose background music before the game started. Using the steering wheel, Magical Sound Shower, Passing Breeze, and Splash Wave were available just before the start of the race, while Last Wave played at the high score screen.
If you've never heard these tracks before the start of the video, and this is your first time experiencing them, prepare to have them stuck in your head for the rest of your life.
In 2015, record label Data Discs partnered with SEGA to remaster and re-release some of the most notable SEGA game soundtracks on vinyl. Titles such as Streets of Rage, Shinobi 3, and Super Hang-On received special editions, and oh yeah, OutRun did too. And it's like the most beautiful thing I've ever seen in my life. All tracks were sourced directly from the 1986 arcade machine alongside 3 bonus tracks from the 1991 Sega Genesis version and the 2014 Nintendo 3DS version. Matte varnish sleeve, custom die cut window, 3 interchangeable covers, and a traditional obi strip? Frickin' I need this in my life right now! But they are sold the out.
I was just on Datadisc's Facebook page and I noticed that they usually consider a reprint if the perceived demand is high enough. So, all you OutRun fans out there, I'm pretty sure I just handed you your marching orders. Let Datadiscs know that we want a reprint!
Before I move on, I want to touch on the fact that there is now an entire music scene online called OutRun, dedicated to synthwave, retrofuturism, and the 80s aesthetic of fast cars and neon lights. If all those things light up the pleasure sensors in your brain, boy, do I have some links in the video description for you. Hidden content. Recently discovered by Chris White over on his Reassembler blog, there's a ton of unused code compiled into the original OutRun ROMs. The game stores the lap time of each stage as you complete it, and flashes this time on the screen as you pass a checkpoint. An unused routine, most likely belonging to an unfinished feature, sequentially prints these times during the game on the HUD. Entering this code in the MAME debugger prints the lap time for stages completed in the race. The missing apostrophes in the lap printouts probably means that this idea was pulled at an early stage in development. Over on OutRun's sound test, there are 4 voice options to choose from.
Get ready.
Congratulations!
And
Checkpoint!
but if you click number 4, nothing happens. It turns out this 4th voice is still in the ROM files containing PCM sample data. If you import the raw data of the ROMs into Audacity using a sample rate of 4000 Hz, you can just barely make out
You're doing great.
Chris White notes that since there is already a voice at the checkpoint stage, it's possible if the voice played mid-level based on your position and time, this could have created bugs or just been not that compelling of a feature.
Unused sprites also exist, such as this extra frame of the end sequence where the guy rubs the lamp and is suddenly surrounded by women. Chris thinks maybe people wouldn't have known this was a genie situation, so somebody drew this sprite here. Also, these images of the guy falling over could have been related to the ending where the guy is kissed after getting the trophy. His girl doesn't look too happy, so maybe she knocked him out. And then there's this one, a motorbike. Here's a mock-up showing what it would look like in-game. There's even a data structure connecting the bike to the game's code. Code that controls traffic enemies, so it's safe to say that AM2 was experimenting with other vehicles as enemies. Yu Suzuki's influences. In many interviews, Yu Suzuki has referenced the movie Cannonball Run as well as a European road trip he took for partially inspiring him to make OutRun. Cannonball Run is even mentioned in the original documentation for the game's design. Japanese artist Hiroshi Nagai is up there, and I mean, look at these beautiful paintings, y'all. Palm trees, cars, roads, pink flowers, oceans, aesthetic. But here's the kicker. Nagai painted the cover art for this 1982 Japanese jazz fusion album called September Wind by Naoya Matsuoka and Wessing. Remember Hiroshi Kawaguchi, the guy that made the jams for OutRun? He directly references this album in an interview on Sega's website, saying that if the guys hadn't heard this album, OutRun would have never been made.
That's pretty serious. If you're an OutRun fan, you kinda owe it to yourself to listen to this album. It's got the sounds of crashing waves like on the music selection screen, and a lot of melodies are straight up influences from tracks on this LP. Passing Breeze sounds a lot like A Season of Love. Peep this. It was on Spotify for a second, now it's not. It's on YouTube though, so hit that link in the VD and peep this heat!
Gear Gacha technique. There's 2 bugs in the gear changing code that allows you to hit 294 kilometers per hour right at the start of the game and stay there even when you're driving off-road. When I first saw the footage of this, it really made my brain hurt. This is what you have to do. Before the race starts, shift into high gear. Begin revving the engine and make sure you have all the green bars in the tachometer maxed out. Once the game starts, smash the gas, shift to low and back to high gear quickly. You'll know the glitch is activated if you peel out and there's 1 bar left in the tachometer. But doing this only lets you start the race at 293 kilometers an hour, which is the game's top speed. This next trick completely breaks the game and is known as Gear Gacha in Japan. Once you roll out after activating the first glitch, veer off to the left and have half your car hanging off the road and begin to shift to low and high gear again quickly. You'll have to repeat this rapid gear changing every 7 seconds or so, but after this, you can fly through the game in under 4.5 minutes. Take a second and just look at some of this footage. It's incredible. Obviously, this all comes down to timing. The lore of Gear Gacha spread throughout Japan after a publication called Gamest revealed the glitch in a 1987 magazine. Soon, tons of Japanese gamers rushed to OutRun arcade cabinets frickin' jamming away at the gear shift in search of the proper technique. This resulted in tons of broken gear shift and signs hung up in Japanese arcades threatening to kick people out for Gear Gacha, or gear rattling play.
Okay, so we're nearing the end here. Final thoughts. Personally, I have not been able to successfully pull off the rolling start or Gear Gacha without MAME rapid-fire assistance. Just a little proof of concept here, I wanted to see it in action. I have the Sega Saturn port of OutRun, which is arcade perfect, and I've read you can trigger the glitches in this port, so I've been trying. If it's not obvious by now, My goal is to get the World 1 record in the 80% category on the Sega Saturn version, which leads me to twingalaxies.com. I searched OutRun on the website and I don't see anything. What's going on here? Maybe I'm just using their website wrong, but I also noticed that over on speedrun.com, when you search OutRun, the Genesis port comes up? I mean, what the hell? Do people not run this game? NGL, this makes me want that world record bad, and I'm sure a lot of you out there want it too. So let's do this! At the time of recording this video, I had to piece together my Gear Gotcha information from blog entries that are years old, translating YouTube comments, and yeah, I would like to eventually make a definitive guide in English for anybody wanting to run this game as well. So let's do this, people! And I think that's it. I really just made a top 5 video. I feel like such a YouTuber now. Yeah! I'm gonna get out of here, but you guys know this is OutRun week, right? That means there's gonna be another OutRun video dropping at 9 a.m. tomorrow. So make sure you subscribe and hit that bell icon if that's your jam. I'm Ben Scarborough. Thank you guys for watching. Smash that like button, and I'll see you guys in 24 hours. Peace! Oh, I crashed.